Hey everybody, how's it going? I hope you're all well. I have a bit of a different video that I want to share with you all today. This video I will be showing you guys how I usually train with juggling and staff spinning. These two props I've been working on a lot recently while I've been in the Grampians hanging out with friends. And yeah, this video is going to highlight all the exercises that I am focusing on right now, as well as some moves and some tricks that I think would be good to share with everybody. So yeah, without further ado, let's jump into the video. Alrighty, starting off with a bit of stretching. I like to get my arms all nice and loose because I put a lot of stress on my shoulders and wrists. And with my legs, I like to get a little bit of mobility in them on the ground first, just to feel comfortable. And yeah, stretch out my quads and my calves and my ankles, yeah, just to feel nice and loose down there. Yeah, stretching out my whole leg, getting those back quads, and yeah, it just feels nice and good to be loose and ready to go. But this movement with my back is pretty nice for my posture. My back feels nice and straight afterwards. And yeah, I recommend doing a bit of stretching. You can do some of the stretches that I'm doing on here, or you can find your own unique set, whatever works for you. I just recommend having at least 5 to 10 minutes designated to stretching. Here I went on for 15, but I knew I was going to go on for a while today. And yeah, that is my stretching, and yeah. So now we're starting off with a bit of juggling. I like to warm up with a bit of comboing. Right now, there's a decent amount of moves that I'm doing in this shot, but I know them all quite well, so what I like to do is just try to find new ways to transition into the next move. And that starts by just, yeah, doing a couple of moves that I know and moving my arms around. And I find that doing this gives me better control over the ball as well. There are a few moves that I am learning at the moment. I recommend trying the knee bounce. You see me doing it right now. The knee bounce is one of my favorite new moves, and it adds another element into the picture. And I think with juggling, you have a lot more opportunity to be more inventive on the first go. So don't be afraid to be inventive with the juggling balls. You'll be surprised of what you can do with them. Moving on, doing some club juggling now, and I'm warming up with some cascades and then doing some double spins as well. Highly recommend you do some double spins with your cascades. It just really helps you out when it comes to learning different tricks because you get used to flicking and throwing the clubs at a different height. I'm doing it there as well with the columns, and I'm also doing it there with my broken columns. And right now, actually, I'm starting to transition into lower moves, and I find that doing lower moves into some higher stuff adds to the diversity of my flow. Right there, I did some flats into some columns, and just messing around with the different heights is really, really fun, and it's a bit of a challenge as well, and I highly recommend doing that just for the challenge. Here, I'm actually comboing a few different tricks. It's really good to, you know, mess around the grid and take inspiration from stuff that you already know. I do find that when you mix different tricks together, it makes your style look a bit more unique, and I find that it also adds, like I said, a bit more of a challenge. And if you want to like progress in juggling, it's not always about learning new moves, it's about trying to find ways to make the stuff that you know more incredible than it already is. Moving on, doing some 4-club juggling, and this is something I'm still learning, so I'm not really doing any tricks at the moment. I'm just doing the same pattern over and over again, and just trying to get the pattern at different heights. Here, I'm just trying to make sure that the clubs are also not hitting each other, and making sure that my hands and my wrists in particular are straight, and they're just going up with the clubs. The best thing I can recommend for getting into 4-club juggling is just be ready for the repetition. It is a lot of the same movement. Alright, going right into staff spinning. I don't really have any warm-up tricks. What I do is I just go right into the flow. I like to do a lot of fixing and repairing while I'm flowing with the stick, just because I have a lot of confidence with it, and there is a lot of stuff I know, so I have this ingenuity with it where I can just fix on the fly, which is a really, really nice place to be when you're learning. As you can see, I'm transferring it all over my body. I'm passing it over my head, behind my back, moving my whole body with the staff. This is really good because if you want to keep up with the speed that you want to go at, you're going to have to use your whole body. So I highly recommend that you get used to moving with the staff, because if you want to keep up with the speed, then you're going to have to use your whole body to keep up with it. There's some really good techniques I'm using right now with my throws. I'm just using a lot of my wrist to flick it up in the air, and I don't really need to use my whole arm. What I'm just doing is using the momentum that I'm making with the movements I'm doing, and then just adding a little bit of wrist action. As you can see, not really putting so much effort in with my arms. Trust me, you don't need to use that much effort with your throws. And the last thing I would say when it comes to staff spinning, just be willing to get creative with your movements. Take inspiration from martial arts or take inspiration from dancing. Whatever you find inspiration when it comes to movement, I highly recommend you implement it with staff spinning, because it's a really good prop to move around with. I can't stress this enough. Please find a movement with the staff. Don't be so structured and rigid and stagnant with your movement. Just be willing to be fluid and fluctuous when it comes to moving around. And yeah, you'll get amazing results, I promise. Now, going into double staff spinning, I do a lot of different movements and tricks. In this practice, I was actually kind of focusing on throwing the staffs in the air, transitioning them behind my back, and doing some stalls or some contact movements. These double staffs that I'm using are quite large, and not a lot of people use large double staffs, but I recommend it if you want to do contact staff with your double staffs. If you want to also, do some throws, it's easier to throw bigger staffs because they're easier to catch, in my opinion. But yeah, what I'm kind of trying to do is I'm just still figuring out new ways to move around the vicinity with them. I'm getting more and more confident each day I practice with them. So what I recommend for you guys if you're starting out with big doubles is, one, get used to throwing them, and also get used to doing contact with them. It'll make your life a lot easier if you use those two ways of moving around. Okay, so now we're getting into a bit of balancing. I'm just balancing a staff on my face at the moment, and I have it positioned on my chin. And I recommend, if you're starting off with balancing, to just try the chin. It's not as hard as the nose or the forehead. Also, some good techniques to have when you're going into balancing is just to make sure your shoulders are relaxed and your back, specifically your spine, is relaxed. It'll help you just feel a little bit more comfortable in your body, as well as more focused specifically on the staff. And yeah, the last thing I'm going to be doing today is just a quick little juggle and staff spin. I'm just kind of splitting up my brain and just trying to do both at the same time. It's a really good exercise that I like to do just to keep me focused, and also it's something that I want to do on fire one day, so yeah, I like to practice a few minutes of it at the end of each train I do. And yeah, by the looks of it, it looks like I'm doing pretty well, and I'm not that far off from doing fire. Alright guys, that is my practice session. That one went on for about 2 hours, and I learned a lot in those 2 hours, and I personally love my training sessions. They're so much fun for me to do. At the moment, I'm not really doing all the props that I can do because I'm traveling at the moment, so I'm just focusing on juggling and staff spinning. And this video was a lot of fun to showcase my tricks and show you guys how my mind works when it comes to training with these props. And I'd love to do another one of these in the future, maybe with some other props that I know. But yeah, thank you so much for listening in, and I hope you guys found some of my advice helpful, and I hope this video inspires you guys to go out and try juggling and staff spinning, because if you put the work in, you're going to get some really good results. And also, shout out to my friends that I've been chilling with in the Grampians. I've been in the Grampians doing a lot of practicing and exploring, and it's just been such an amazing time, and just so thankful right now for the people I've met and the people I know. And yeah, thanks everyone for watching, and yeah, I will make another video soon.